What's going on, Insomniacs? Welcome into Insomnia Sports, joined Chris the Entertainer, joined by Spencer Rover Sports in this joint channel. And in this one, we're going to be previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New York Giants. Chris is going to be playing the role of Pat Shurmur, stale Pat Shurmur for the New York Giants. And then Spencer's going to be playing the role of Dirk Cutter, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they're basically just going to go head-to-head, previewing the matchup and debating why they think their teams are going to win. So, Spencer, I'll let you take this one away. You're the visiting team. What's going on?
I get the first crack at this, don't I?
Go for it, man.
Well, I look at the Tampa Bay Bucs, and even though we lost to the Washington Redskins, we still were over 400 yards. I mean,
500.
We're an offensive juggernaut this year. I mean, we lead the league in total offense for 452.8 yards a game. Passing the football, we are, 361 yards a game. So Fitzpatrick, 17 TDs on the season. He has already 2,200 yards, and he hasn't even played in all the games because Jameis Winston was a turnover machine in a lot of games he played. Our rookie running back has come into the forefront and is actually playing pretty well, Ronald Jones, right now. We have Peyton and Ronald Jones. But on the outside, the way I'm attacking the Giants is Janoris Jenkins is looking every bit as old as his age. I mean, he's looking 28 years old. Landon Collins, I mean, I hate to say this as a Giants fan, but I'm Dirk Cutter. He's an overrated player in this NFL. He is a positionless player. He is Mark Barron before Mark Barron became a safety in LA. He can't cover anymore. He's too older. Maybe the New York media is getting to his head a little bit. And I have Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is one of the most talented receivers in the entire league. I have Mike Evans. I have O.J. Howard, who's a tremendous tight end from Alabama. I also have Deshaun Jackson, who absolutely torches the Giants and is a giant nightmare. So I look at this football game, and do you really think that the Giants, who only average 19 points a game, do you really think they're going to keep pace with Ryan Fitzpatrick in a game where I think Fitzpatrick's going to put up a ton of points on this Giants defense? So I'm looking at Tampa Bay, and I think if Tampa Bay gets to 31 points, why is Eli Manning going to suddenly have two consecutive good games? Eli Manning has been trash in games where he's actually played well, okay? When he played well against the Carolina Panthers, he came back home to Philly, and he was terrible. It's a short week. Nathan Pierre-Paul revenge game. Eli Manning, let me tell you this one too. Eli Manning, and it's not even like the Giants have a great rushing defense. They're 122 yards a game rushing. Eli Manning is going to come back down to earth. He can't keep pace with this Bucs offense.
Your turn. Chris, go ahead.
All right. I'm getting agitated, especially from a Giants fan. I know we're doing a debate thing. I'm getting very agitated hearing a Giant fan rip apart Eli Manning and my Giants. And not to, he does deserve some ripping. But Eli played great last week. And you say that you can't see
But Chris, let me just interject real quick. I don't feel as though Dirk Cutter in this scenario is ripping Eli Manning. He's just stating the facts.
All right, and I'm going to state facts. I'm going to state facts now.
Exactly. It's good. By the way, it's good that I'm agitating you. I'm getting under your skin.
Okay. Eli Manning last week, of course, had a very good game, and it's because the Giants committed to the run in the first half. They gave the ball to Barkley 15 times and opened up the play-action pass. Granted, they versus the 49ers, who don't have a good defense, but you know what's the worst defense? Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's the worst-ranked defense in football, okay? You guys give up a ton of yards, and Eli Manning is going to have a very efficient game. We're going to give Barkley the ball early and often, and you're right. We're not going to be able to keep pace with your fast-paced offense, which is why we're going to slow down the game. We're not going to go at you. You're like the Golden – I equate you guys to like the Golden State Warriors in terms of offense in basketball. You like to play fast-paced. You have a lot of high-flying – you have a high-flying offense. So to combat that, we are going to run the football. We're going to slow down the game, and we're going to win the time of possession because your defense is awful. You're not going to be able to stop Saquon Barkley. As bad as our offensive line is, we're going to be able to average 4.5, 5 yards a carry because you guys have been giving it up all year. And you mentioned Ronald Jones. Your running offense is awful. You average 3.5 yards a carry, which is the worst running attack in football. So if this game gets affected by the weather, it's supposed to be in the low 40s, 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. If Fitzpatrick's not able to throw the ball as often as he can, we will slow down your offense. There's no doubt in my mind. The other thing I noticed is you guys, as I said, have a very high-flying offense, a lot of big plays. Fitzpatrick has thrown 17 touchdowns this year. 8 of them have been from outside the red zone. So if and 3 of them over 70 yards. And, of course, as you alluded to, you have a ton of weapons. Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson. You didn't even mention Humphrey, who's a good slot receiver. We got involved last week. Jacquizz Rodgers caught for over 100 yards as well. Another nice pass-catching running back that you guys have. However, what I'm going to do is the Giants, I'm going to play zone coverage. I'm going to give you the yards. I'm going to let you get to the red zone, and that's where we will stuff you for 3 points. Fitzpatrick last week did awful in the red zone. He threw 2 red zone interceptions because when the field was shortened, your offense is not nearly as effective. I think you ranked 23rd in red zone offense, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we will be able to stuff you guys when you get close. The Giants, believe it or not, have the 4th-ranked red zone defense in all of football. They did a great job against the Saints when they got close in that game, even though the Saints put up points at the end. If you remember in the first half, they held the Saints to 4 field goals. So I expect to be able to do the same thing against you guys. I'm going to control the pace of play with the running game. Eli's going to be efficient, and we will hit you guys for some big plays with Beckham. And we are going to win this football game. There's no doubt in my mind. This game will be played in the low to mid-20s, and we will win this game.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I think of the 2 teams, I look at the Giants, below average offense, but they still have playmakers. When I take a look at the Giants defense, I still think it's below average. I don't think Betcher's done a great job. When I look at the Bucs, the defense is god-awful. But the offense is tremendous. And I feel as though that might be where the Buccaneers will have the edge in this matchup. But being a Jet fan, I've seen the Fitzmagic movie before. When the field gets, when the field shrinks, when it's time to make plays, when Fitzmagic is playing in cold weather, he just completely folds. Okay, he folds. And I've seen it before. Fitzmagic in the cold weather, in the short field, does not play good football, and that's where I feel like the Giants might have a little bit of an edge. They could capitalize on it. But Spencer, I'll let you rebuttal.
Well, JC, like I'm really, how Entertainer said that he was, getting a little agitated by my arguments coming from a Giants fan. Well, I'm going to use his own medicine here, and I'm really going to get to Entertainer with this statistic because I'm using what he said in his last video against him. You know how he said time of possession? You know how Entertainer said run the football? You know how Entertainer said it's time for the Giants to keep that Bucs offense off the field? Well, Entertainer came up with one of the craziest stats since 2011, the holy grail of Giants stats, when we were talking about stale Pat, is that the New York Giants, before last week, threw the ball 70% of the time on all their passes this year. So, and then let me tell you, Entertainer, guess what the Giants rank in the whole league in terms of time of possession?
Not good.
28th in the entire league, okay? They only hold the ball 47% of the time. You really trust Saquon Barkley behind that offensive line?
Yep, I do. I
Saquon Barkley to run the football, but to be behind Will Hernandez, is Jamon Brown suddenly going to be a Pro Bowl player? Look, and JC, if they run right to the Bucs, you're just playing to our strength as a Buccaneers coach because, dude, I still have Pierre-Paul, who's actually having an amazing year. I think he has 5 sacks already this year. And then I have Gerald McCoy. The strength of my defense is in the middle of the defense. I want you to run it right to the middle. The weakness is the secondary. It's going to come down to, can Eli Manning sack up, and can Eli Manning really have an efficient day throwing the rock against my secondary?
Here's what we're going to do, okay? And you're right. We have not done well in the time of possession, but last week, Stale Pat, for the first time, committed to the run in the first half, okay? He ran the ball 15 times, and your defense is awful. If there's any team that we're going to be able to run the ball effectively against, it is you. And Jamon Brown looked great last week, and this offensive line, I think, is starting to get a little better. They're still very bad, but they're starting to get a little better as the year goes along. So I do think we will be able to run the ball effectively. Another thing I don't think I mentioned earlier that I want to throw in there, you guys have turned the ball over more than any team in football. 23 turnovers. You've only created 6. You're minus 17, which is record-breaking, okay? You got and when a team gets into the red zone, you give up a touchdown 88% of the time. That would be the highest total in the history of football if you maintain that pace.
We're trying to get the football back, but you're not going to be able to throw the ball on us with Eli Manning, okay?
Oh, really?
He can't throw more than 8 yards a pop. And you act like my running defense is terrible. We only give up 108 yards a game
because
rushing.
Teams are throwing all over you.
Middle of the pack in rushing defense.
Yeah, because teams go for like 5 – you guys,
and is Eli Manning doing that in the cold? No.
You guys give up.
Look, you know what quarterbacks we play? Let me tell you what quarterbacks we've played this year. We played Cam. We played Drew Brees.
Okay.
We played the elite of the elite quarterbacks. You noticed, JC. We played Big Ben. Okay, we played really good offenses.
Well, that might explain why you're giving up a 74% completion percentage, which is, again, the worst in the league. It's like you play Drew Brees every week. And this week, Eli is going to be very efficient. They're going to pound the ball to Barkley, and Eli will throw for over 70% completion. Mark my words. He'll throw for between 200 and 250 yards. He's going to throw for 2 touchdowns. And we're going to win this football game.
We're learning a new scheme right now.
I don't know. I think we're going to win. I strongly believe that. I want to hear JC's thoughts.
Hey, JC, one more comment before JC, throws down the gauntlet, okay?
Proceed.
I've just got to pick this one up, all right? His favorite player entertainer is Baker Mayfield, okay? And Baker Mayfield only threw for 215 against this Bucs defense. He only had 3 points in the first half. So Eli's better than Baker Mayfield. And if you watch that Browns Bucs game, the Bucs, the quarterbacks that they've played this year are just tremendous. And if you're going to beat the Bucs, you got to throw, and it's going to come down to Eli. And how can you trust Eli Manning? When Giants fans want to get rid of him.
That's just where we disagree. Why, if I equate it to the Warriors. If I'm going up against the Golden State Warriors, why am I going to try to do what they do best? I'm not going to shoot threes. I'm not going to try to air out the football. I'm going to try to slow down the pace of the game. So if I'm the Giants, I try to throw less than 30 times in this game. I want to control the clock and pound it with Barkley.
All right.
Okay. Great debate. First and foremost, all right, great debate. I thought it was like a classic heavyweight bout where Spencer came out swinging. He was laying on some blows, but then Chris came back and, was making some awesome points about time of possession, running the ball. Spencer battled back. Chris battled back. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this victory to Spencer because I was thinking that this game was going to be a lot closer before the debate. But after hearing Spencer's points about the offense, about the game being forced all on Eli Manning's shoulders. This is a game for the Bucs secondary, and you mentioned it that they're learning a new defensive scheme. So Eli Manning is going to be the worst quarterback that they've faced all season. You said Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger. If there is a game where the Buccaneers secondary steps up, it will be against turnover-prone Eli Manning. Now, I think that playing in midlife season will helps the Giants, it helps their favor a lot because, like I said before, Fitzmagic does not play well in the cold. But the thing is it will come down to Eli Manning throwing the ball. And when you look at it, again, you brought up the point of the Buccaneers front seven being the strength of the defense. Granted, the defense isn't that good, but they still have good players like Pierre-Paul and McCoy on that defense. So it'll come down to, because I don't believe that the Giants are going to be able to run the ball. I really don't. I feel if the Giants want to win this game, they need to receive and they need to get up with an early lead in the game so then they can they're not playing from behind.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go for it. Yeah.
I'm looking at their schedule, and yes, they played good quarterbacks. Okay, Andy Dalton put up 34 points on them. Let's see. Mitchell Trubisky put up 48 points on them.
But that was under Mike Smith.
They completely quit on that game. You're absolutely right.
Nick Foles put up 27 on them. So to think that Eli can't put up 24, 27 on this team is wrong. The Giants will do that. And the Giants will do that, and they will win.
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, prediction.
Hey, Central. Hey, you watch that Eagles defense go up against Dak Prescott and how terrible that Eagles defense was, all right? Eli Manning in that performance, okay, he was absolutely awful. 34-13 bloodbath. And also the Giants, remember Josh Norman when they said that the Giants play worse when teams play worse at home? That crowd is a negative crowd. They don't like Eli Manning anymore. It's going to be a negative atmosphere. This Giants offense is not consistent at all, JC. The Eagles secondary is terrible. The Giants only put up 13 versus the Eagles.
See, I feel like I disagree with you in the sense that I feel like the Giants fans, they're still going to the games after they lose and go after, Coughlin. Then they go to McAdoo. McAdoo sucks. Now they're going to Shermer. Shermer sucks, but yet they're still going to the games.
It's pressure, though. You got to put out a good product.
Yeah, it'll. This game comes down to Eli Manning because if the Buccaneers can stop the run and force Eli Manning to throw, that's playing right into Tampa Bay's hands. And but it's interesting, too, because Fitzpatrick has shown in the past that he is just an absolute turnover machine. He is no wherewithal
They
for
lead the league. They lead the league.
Yeah, they lead the league. So it's going to be a tale or a game of the quarterback's play. Of the quarterback play. Two veteran guys, two guys that are kind of dipping, on the nose diving a little bit. But at the end of the day, I kind of favor Fitzpatrick because at least this season he's been throwing for tons and tons of yards, tons of touchdowns. Where Eli Manning, just the production isn't there. So prediction time. Chris, I'll let you get this one going. Who do you think's going to win? Score prediction, break character, and honestly, no biases.
No biases whatsoever.
Spencer, no biases.
No biases whatsoever. I'm not breaking character. What I said is what I feel. I predicted in my video. I said 27-20 Giants. I truly feel that way. I think the Bucs coming to New York are going to struggle. I really do. I think the cold weather will get a little bit to Fitzpatrick. I think the Giants will build off their win from last week. And I think Eli's played great last week. I disagree with Spencer. I think when Eli has the time, which the offensive line provided him last week, he can still get the job done. I'm not saying he's an all-world quarterback, but I think he can still get the job done when you provide him with a balanced offensive attack. And I think the Giants will be able to do that on Sunday against the league's worst defense. There's no reason to think they can't.
Fair enough. Spencer, prediction.
I look at the Giants and I wish I could find the stat, but I've been watching this Giants team. They don't get a lot of turnovers. I mean, last week we had two interceptions. I really don't think I agreed with a lot of Tanner's points. I mean, I was proud of my argument, obviously. I almost convinced myself to pick the Bucs, but the fact is that the Giants do have a little momentum. I don't trust Fitzpatrick in the cold at all. I actually think the Giants defense, even though it hasn't been that great all year, I expect the Giants to get pressure on this Bucs defense. I don't think the Bucs are going to score more than 21 points. The Giants defense is actually going to play really well in this football game, and Eli's going to have a chance to be clutch at the end of the game. I'll take the Giants. It's going to be really low scoring. I'm actually going to take the Giants 24-20.
I agree with that. That's where
After all that I said,
I have a 27-20 Giants.
If this game was in Tampa Bay, I think that Fitz might be able to light it up. But I'm telling you, the Giants' defense is going to gain momentum. It's going to be kind of an outlier affair.
I like the Giants. I really do.
But
Go ahead, Ian.
Low scoring, entertainer. I don't see Fitzpatrick lighting it up. You'll know the first quarter of the game, if the Giants give up a lot of points and yards, you'll know it's over. They can't get into a track meet at all, or it's over.
Yeah. See, the thing is like I feel like what's going to win this game for either team is who gets up early first. If the Giants go downfield and get 7 points, 10 points on the board in the first quarter, and they could run the ball and just control the clock, I feel like the Giants will have it in the bag. If the Buccaneers just, strike fast and get up 14-0, quickly.
Oh, of course, yeah. You can't. If the Giants can't get into a shootout, they will lose if they get into a shootout. I'll agree with that. I don't think they will, though. That's why I think the Giants will win.
And then Fitzy from behind, you never know. I mean, Fitzy will always kind of come back a little bit, He
had two and I don't mean to cut you off, Spencer, but he had two incredible comebacks this year. They didn't turn into wins, but against the Bengals, when they put him in place of Winston, they almost came back and won that game. And then there was another game too recently where they put Fitzpatrick in and then they just stormed right back. So my prediction, I'm going to go Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31, New York Giants 17. I just don't feel as though the Giants can stop Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans. I feel like they're just going to be in shotgun mode the whole time, and they're just going to strike fast, and the Giants are going to try to keep up. And they're just not going to be able to do it. So
that's low red zone. But I'll tell you, 31 points. If the Bucs score, I'm going to say if the Bucs score over 27, the Giants have to hold the Bucs under 24 points to win.
I agree with that. I personally think they will. I really truly believe that. But we'll see. I mean, the thing is, I really truly feel the way I do. I think the Redskins exposed them a little bit last week, when they played a coverage that said, get your yards, we're going to let you get into the red zone, and then Fitzpatrick will make his mistakes. They put up 500 yards and only scored 3 points because when you look at all their touchdowns, they're all over. Half of them are out of the red zone. I think when they get into the red zone, they get exposed. And I think the Giants should come with that same strategy this week.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. But one thing I just want to throw in there, I know we only have 9 minutes left in this meeting, but Last week, I know the Giants won. Incredible victory, but it was against the Niners, who are the worst roster in football, on the third-string quarterback. And that third-string quarterback with nothing at wide receiver and nothing at running back, they were able to put up a lot of points on this Giants defense. Granted, it wasn't at MetLife Stadium, but I'm looking at the Buccaneers offense, one of the best in the league, now rolling into your house. That's just, I mean, you look at the offensive ranks, probably Buccaneers top 5 to 49ers bottom 5.
Yeah, well, if the Giants do what they did in that game, they will lose. They lost the time of possession in that game by 10 minutes. So, that if that happens, they will lose this football game. I'm banking on the fact that against this poor of a defense, I think the Giants will be able to control the clock more.
Good.
And also the fact is, last thing I'm going to say is that I'm glad that this game is, again, you get Fitzy going to the cold, and those stats can be inflated if he's always coming from behind, kind of like Matt Stafford, where they're playing the prevent defense on him. So we'll see. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm going Giants too. If the Bucs beat the Giants by 14, hell of a prediction, JC. And then I think it's long letter time will really be a real reality.
I had a great time, guys. Thank you guys for doing this, and I can't wait to do the next one.
Yeah, sounds good. And just to wrap it all up, Chris, Spencer, they have the Giants in a narrow victory. I got the Buccaneers. And thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you like what you saw. And that's a wrap.
All right.